Welcome to another edition of Yacht Life Chronicles, where we are better together than separated. We going to down in Dayton, Ohio today to talk to Mr. Hankin TV. You know what I'm saying? One of the OGs down there. He's a podcaster. You know, he's been in prison for a while, came out podcasting. He's also was middleman in books for Triple Crown. That was an interesting thing about me, is that while he was in prison, Triple Crown would send him books to see if it was good enough for them to publish. You know, he also have his own book. He has a nonprofit. He has his own Hankin t-shirt business. Man, he's just a Renaissance man, just full of, you know, just a man of many hats, many trades, ace of all trades, you know. So, you know, I'm going to let him introduce him to y'all and to the viewers out there, and we'll go from there. Can you introduce yourself for me today, Mr. Hankin?
What's up? It's Hankin TV. It's JT. If I say I done it, I did it. I'm from Dayton, Ohio.
That's what's up, man. And listen, man, you know, by you being a manager, you know what I'm saying, you know, your dad would manage the Ohio players, you know, down there in Dayton, man. So y'all really tapped in with Dayton, man. Like, Dayton is where you from, man. You Dayton all day, you know. You know, it ain't somewhere you just move to. Like, you bleed Dayton, Ohio.
Yep, born and raised.
Yeah, so let's go back for a minute, man, and talk about that for a minute, man. Talk about how you came up, man. How was your youth, man? Like, you know, because I wanted to go from that to how you was introduced to the streets.
Well, man, I had a good childhood, you know what I'm saying? Remember, I played Little League baseball. Mm-hmm. I was good in school. But one thing I find common, man, about guys in my generation, guys in my age, man, no matter how we grew up or our life circumstances, we all was doing good and on a good route, man, until the crack epidemic hit. And it seemed like once the crack epidemic hit, man, everybody just got off the chain, man, either to chasing money, getting out in the streets. Maybe some even got strung out on drugs. But up until then, I had a good upbringing, and I was exposed to a lot as a youngster. Like I say, I played football. I played Little League baseball.
Yeah. So when was that first little episode, man, that, you know, you had stuck that little toe out there in the streets, man, and, you know, tried it for a minute, man, before you had really got deep into it?
Man, I think, man, one of the things which intrigued people, man, because we all got the microwave kind of mentality of thinking everybody wanted now, man. And once people seen how easy it was to get money, I think that's what encouraged a lot of people to get out there. But I think the first time, man, when I stepped out in the streets, man, I think my first crime I ever committed, man, was selling drugs. But one thing that I got into real deep during that and after that was stealing cars. You know, my first time ever going to jail was for stealing a car.
Oh yeah, that carjacking, man, and that's real prevalent around here.
Not carjacking, stealing cars.
Stealing cars. Yeah. So you weren't carjacking them, you was just stealing them at the time, man. You know. And, you know, kind of, so you ever been a juvenile?
Oh, yeah, man, I did a few stints in juvenile. And although I did my stints in juvenile, I still kind of was on the right path. And by them seeing that I was on the right path, they had what they call suspended commitments. So if you get in trouble, they be like, well, we ain't going to send you up to juvenile prison. What we'll do, we'll suspend the sentence and put it on the shelf. And if you get in trouble again, then we're going to give it to you. So I had ended up getting, man, 3 6-month suspended commitments. So if I got in any more trouble before I turned 18, I was going to automatically have to go do 18 months in juvenile.
See, down here, they call that hider. You know, down here in Michigan, they call that hider. You know, if you catch a case, you know, and then they'll exonerate it off your record if you stay out of trouble until you're 18. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
So what I ended up doing, man, I stayed out the way all the way till I was 18. As soon as I was 18, 2 weeks, and caught an adult case in a drug raid.
Dang, man. So, man, you know, how was that, man? Just, you know, that experience right there. What was your thoughts, man? What was your thoughts, man, just getting out that van, man, going to jail, man, in your first big case ever?
I ain't gonna really say I was accustomed to it because of the stints and back and forth I had did the juvenile, but then I knew I was in the big league, you know, and I didn't think it was I didn't take it as serious as it was, because being only 18, 2 weeks, and then catching an adult case, I'm thinking like, man, first time offender.
And this was in 99. This in 99 when you caught your case that led you to prison?
Nah, like I told you, when I went to jail in 99, I did 10 years then. I got 15 in altogether.
Okay.
But this was this was my first time ever going, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, man, about the case you had caught in 99, man, but right before you had went to the joint. You know what I'm saying? How that come about?
The case I caught in 99 before I went to the joint and did my 10, I had caught a body. So I did a body bit. That right there was like kind of devastating. And as far as one of the things that I'll be touching on my podcast, I had one of the topics on there is snitching. So one of my concerns, not my concerns, one of the things I focus on, people always talking about what they won't do. I don't care what type of person, what type of cloth a person to cut from, how solid they claim they is. A person can never say what they're going to do until they in that situation. You know what I'm saying?
You know, and I see how you and Gangsta Williams, you know, because you had Birdman brother on the show, you know, you and Gangsta Williams was talking about that. And, you know, I've been really going around asking a lot of people, man, just getting their views on that, you know, because with him doing all that time, 20 years in prison, what, 23 years?
23 years and 10 months.
23 years and 10 months. And him telling on his dead, basically co-defendants, you know, that then died. And here it is, the state come to him and tell him, listen, man, you know, we'll let you out of here. Just tell on your co-defendants that's already dead. You consider that snitching?
Man, like I said, man, going around asking people, man, you can't really ask a person, because a person say this and then in that situation and they do something totally different. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. You know, because like I say, I mean, a person dead. You know,
right.
I mean, it's one thing, you know, a lot of times we gotta rationalize different things.
Right.
You know, but snitching is snitching. And don't get me wrong, ain't no way around it, ain't nothing. But what I'm saying is, when you told on some dead people, you know, I really don't. And then you done 23 years in the joint, you know, so I can understand what you're saying about, you know, people. You never know what people do until they in that position.
Right. And I don't care how solid they say he is. So a guy mean to tell me, man, you can sit up hypothetically and somebody do a drive-by on your house, actually accidentally shoot and kill your mama, and you don't got no intentions on getting your lick back. You just gonna let that ride? That's why I say, man, people can't say what they're gonna do until they situation. But I can honestly touch and talk on that situation because I was in it. When I caught my body case, I was supposed to have 2 co-defendants. But if they didn't ever do a day in jail, what do that mean?
Yeah, they told.
If they didn't do a day in jail, what do that mean?
Oh, you took the case.
Exactly. So you know what I'm saying? So that's why I said, that's why I feel like I can speak on it and people can't say what they're gonna do in today's situation. Because when I caught my case, the first deal they offered me was 23 to life. So if they offer me 23 to life and they tell me we're gonna give you we'll break it down if you tell us who was with you. And if them guys didn't never do a day in jail, that means I didn't say nothing. And here they was telling me I'm about to do 23 years of life.
Yeah. And like that type of loyalty, man, and that type of, you know, because when you're in the streets, man, you know, a person know what they signed up for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta accept what come with the streets, you know, and you know, you accepted what came with the streets. You know, you ain't tell on nobody. You had an opportunity to tell on your co-defendants and you didn't. You know, where do you think, man, that street code, it seemed like that street code now that became obsolete. You know, I mean, the loyalty in the streets, man, that went strictly out the window. You know what I'm saying? Person telling on the individual first time they, you know what I'm saying, the first opportunity they get. You know, man, where do you think, man, that the streets took a turn that, like, from your generation to this generation now, man? Where do you think the streets took a turn that as to where you got all this telling and everybody just loose-mouthed and study sinking ships?
You know what, man? It don't matter. It don't matter where I think it turned. You know what I'm saying? The best thing I did to separate myself from it, I got out the streets and became a civilian. The thing about it, people been telling us since the beginning of the time. The reason it's such a big thing now because we got the internet to expose people, and you can hear about a guy that snitched down in Tennessee quicker today than you could yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't about where I feel it turned. I just separated myself from it because it's so sticky and it ain't no loyalty and honor in the game no more.
And like with you, right? Because like I got a partner, right? He turned civilian. You know, he was in the streets. He turned civilian. You know, then a murder happened in his yard. You know, and he told. And then a lot of people was like, he a rat, he this, he that. But he a civilian now. You know, he's not a street cat no more. So, you know, should that label be thrown on, you know what I'm saying? Like dealing with civilians, is that ratting?
Man, civilians ain't considered ratting. Like I say, man, when a person get killed, even if you is a street nigga, if you ain't planning on getting your lick back, get out of it, you know what I'm saying? That right there, man, I really like them. That right there, one of the things I learned growing up, man, they say don't debate with people about religion, politics, and sports. And that's another
especially religion.
I try to stay away from, man, because it's just an ongoing thing. And the bottom line of it is a person can't say what they will or what they won't do.
What they won't do until they into it, until they in that position.
How many people have you known? I ain't gonna snitch, and you come to find out they done snitched. A person can't say what they do, man, until they in that position.
Right. You know, and you know, while you was in the joint, man, I know you know, because 10 years, man, you got a lot of time to, you know, go over and over and over your life, you know, and what you did. You know, what was the most important thing, man, that you learned while you was in there, man, that you still carry today?
Patience. Patience, man. Realizing that just because something happened today don't mean that's gonna be the outcome tomorrow, man. Patience. Patience is the virtue, man.
Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Sorry about your loss, man, because I know you lost your mom during that time when you was in the joint, man. You know, and I know that was is that what galvanized you towards podcasting?
Nah, that ain't really what galvanized me toward podcasting. I don't really call myself a podcaster. What it was, man, it's just like I had talent. Like I'm an author. At the time, I was trying to get exposure for my book. During then, back in 2017, I did a lot of interviews myself. You know what I'm saying? People wanted to interview me about my book. And I got interested in it then. But like I said, it's talent here in my city, man. Not counting myself, but I feel like, man, guys could get more exposure, man, if they had a platform that could get them out there to the masses and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I started a platform where I try to like shine, just put some light on people with talent, brands, and businesses and stuff like that.
And tell us a little bit, man, when you was in the joint, man, how did that come about, man? You and Triple Crown, man, as to where, you know, they had started sending you the books, man, for you to read and for you to tell them, was it good enough to publish or not?
Well, one of the things I did while I was in the joint, man, I read a lot of books, man. And then in 1999, year 2000, that's when street books first became popular. You know what I'm saying? So by me being in the joint and me living that lifestyle, I started reading the books, and that's what used to take me out of there. You know, I'd read a book in one night.
Yeah.
I had just read so many of them. I just kept reading them and reading them and reading them. So one time, they had brought the owner of Triple Crown Publications in, Vicky Stringer. And with Vicky Stringer, she from Detroit. So she had came down to Ohio. They had labeled her as a queen pin, and she caught a Fed case.
Mm-hmm.
What she did when she got out, she wrote her street book, lightly based on her case, and she self-published it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like an independent rap artist, but she's an independent book publisher.
Mm-hmm.
And she started a book company called Triple Crown Publications. So one time they had brought her into one of the institutions I was in to speak to us. You know what I'm saying? To tell us about self-publishing, how she got out of jail and turned her life around.
Mm-hmm.
While she doing her presentation, she was telling us about some books, like giving us the synopsis of it, and she couldn't think of the author's name who wrote it. But by me have read all the books, I would tell her what the author's name was because I knew the stories.
Mm-hmm.
So after she did her presentation or whatever, you know, she called me up there. She's like, man, you knew all the authors to the books. She's like, you done read a lot of books. I'm like, yes, I done read all of them. So she asked me, did I want a job? I'm like, yeah, I want a job. So what they would do is when a person first write a book, what you call it is called a manuscript. So back then, everybody locked up, and everybody on the streets was trying to write books and get a book deal. So what you do when you write a book, you'll write your manuscript and you'll send it to a publishing company for them to decide if they want to publish it. So what they would do, they would send me the manuscripts and let me proofread the manuscripts and see if it was a good story in order for them to review the book in-house.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like a time saver.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then if I say it was good, I'm like, well, this is a good story. Then they would take the time to review it in-house.
So what was a good story to you? Like when they was presenting these books to you, like what was they presenting? Like hood books, self-help books? What kind of books?
I was hood books. Urban literature.
Urban literature. So and I know, like, you know, you reading all these books, you saying to yourself, you know, you can write your own hood story because you got a lot of people that write their own hood stories. You know, so what was it that caught your eye about these hood books that you told Triple Crown that it was a go to publish it?
I mean, a good story, a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be you know what I'm saying? Like
just a good, deep, in-depth story.
Right.
Okay. So what kind of books you read when you was locked up? What kind of books you read?
That's what I was reading. I was reading them. I mean, I read all kind of books, but them was like the most
primary books.
Because like I said, it took me out of there.
Right. So what kind of do you still read while you out here?
You know what I do?
You do a lot of reading out here?
I'm collecting books.
Okay.
I'm collecting books. Just like if you wrote a book, I would get it, put it up.
I got a book coming too, so you know most definitely I'm gonna send it to you.
And I'm gonna eventually read it. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up, man.
I'm doing now. I'm building me a library.
That's what's up. And you know what? I tell a lot of people I like reading my books physically in my hand. I don't like reading books on the laptop, on the computer. I like to turn the page and, you know what I'm saying, be, you know, physically, you know, tangible with the book. You know, a lot of people be like, I like reading it on the computer. It's kind of, you know, it's not really a good tactic for me, you know, when I'm learning. You know, what you like reading them? You like reading them, you know, you like the books, or you like reading them on the computer better?
I like the physical copy.
The physical copy. Yeah, I love the physical copy too. So listen, man, you know, I know you've seen a lot of things, man, while you was in prison, man, a lot of injustice, man. So, you know, are you working with anybody doing any reform, man? Do you want to see the system reformed in any way down there in Ohio, man? Do you want to see some changes within the system?
Man, it most definitely got to be some changes made within the system. Like my nonprofit organization I'm trying to start, it's called the Life Program, Leading Youth from Extinction, LYFE. So what I believe we got to do, man, we got to get our youth and our young adults, man. You know what I'm saying? And while I was in prison, I was fortunate enough to be like the president of an organization who worked with troubled youth they used to bring in from the streets. It was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a Scared Straight program.
Mm-hmm.
I took the Scared Straight part off of it, and I called it an educational program because we're not trying to scare you. What we want to do, we want to educate you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But the system definitely do need to be reformed. Coming up here on my show pretty soon, I'm going to have one of my close friends. He just came home from doing 33 years. So I'm going to have him on the show telling about some of the things he went through in there. Because like I've been out, I did 10 years, and then I've been out, I think 12 years. So a lot of stuff has changed in there. But I know that the injustices and stuff is still in there and how sticky the system can be, but it definitely need to be some changes made.
Right. You know, and I know, like I say, you know, it need to be some changes made here in Michigan too. You know, we do 100% of our time. Do y'all got good time down there? You know, we got truth and synthesis down here.
It's day for day, but you can get good time. But you know what I do to separate myself from all that? I stay out the way.
Definitely stay out the way. Definitely stay out the way.
Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't looking for no smoke, but I ain't gonna duck none neither.
Yeah, you know, but we got but we definitely got family members and friends in there, man. That you know we can, you know, one day we hope that can come home, man. Because like I say, in Michigan, we got truth and synthesis, and sometimes they give you these assault of offenders class and all these PPP class and all these different classes that you have to take, and they wait until it's time for you to go home 6 months before, you know, you get a parole 6 months before you go home in Michigan. But if you haven't completed your classes that's required of you, or they might require a class when it's time for you to come up for a parole. I've been down 4, 5 years, 3, 4 years, maybe 10 years. Y'all done had all the time in the world to tell me to take a class, but y'all want to wait 6 months before I go home to take this class, and then now I'm required to take it. Now I gotta wait. I'm on the waiting list. Now I gotta wait to get in. 90 more days than passed. I'm 90 days from my out date, knowing that I'm not finna finish this class in 90 days. You know, so down here the prison system is really, man, is really dysfunctional, you know, because you know
I know you can't blame the system for that. What you gotta do, you gotta blame the individual for that. If you know it's gonna be a chance if you're not getting your parole in this time due to lack of, you're supposed to be in there programming. That's one of the things I did. That first is that's gonna help you become better. You know it's gonna be required. It's something to help pass your time. So why wouldn't you be in there programming?
But the thing about what I was saying is that sometimes they're gonna tell you that you have to take a program that exceeds your out date. You know. And that's the thing I was saying is that don't wait to tell me soon as it's time for me to go home to take a class. You know, tell me months, years prior, you know, to my out date. So like in Michigan, they'll wait right until it's time for you to go home and tell you to take a class. And you got a lot of these guys, you know, doing 110, 120% of their time. You know, so like I said in Michigan, man, I hope that, you know, prison reform, you know, come about. You know, and hopefully it can get off the floor and into the house, and you know, some changes can be made. You know, but I wanted to ask you, man. You know, because you know I know you tapped in with a lot of young guys. You know, and you know you see things a lot different. Why do you think, man, is you know the younger generation not respecting the older generation? Like they don't respect the OGs no more. Like from like. You know, the generation that you from back in the day, you looked up and, you know, you got the game from your OG. But now, you know, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got all these algorithms and different things teaching this individual to the point where now it's like the OG can't teach him no more. The female or the male, I think I know it all because I've been watching social media all day. But in actuality, that's not real life. You know, why you think it's so much disrespect and why you think it's so much connection between the younger generation and the older generation?
You mean disconnection?
I mean, yeah, disconnection.
because the OGs trying to be young niggas. The young niggas don't respect the OGs because the OGs trying to be young niggas. You got to, and this where it came in at. That generation, the young cats, their parents had children young. So the parents grew up with the kids. So they still trying to keep up and be the kids. Our parents didn't have us young. You know what I'm saying? Our parents raised us with principles and morals because they wasn't growing up with us. You know what I'm saying? The young cats out there, they growing up with their parents. Their parents had them when they was 16, 17, maybe 18. So they growing up with them. And the parents kind of so many kind of mistake growing up from raising the kids. Now they trying to keep up and catch up with them. Which it ain't no excuse, but by you having a younger parent can't really instill no morals and values and stuff in you. So that's basically that's where I see the disconnection that what they consider the OGs trying to be young. You know what I'm saying? How many guys you see 30 and 40 still running around with their pants hanging down, sparkly belts, and man, I mean, for each his own, people got their own, you know what I'm saying? Got their own understanding of, but that's what I think it is, man. I think what people consider OGs is they try to keep up with the young cats, man.
So with the influence, man, of the culture, right, and the decimation of the Black community, let's talk about that for a minute. Like, what do you think the resolution is for us, man, to stop all this violence and all this killing as a Black community?
And one of the things that stem from a lot of that stuff still from jealousy, envy, people trying to keep up with the Joneses, mad because such and such got something, the lack of people, hard work, and you got to get out and work for what you want. That's why I go back to say people got that microwave mentality. They want it just like that. You know what I'm saying? They want instant gratification.
And I tell people all the time, right? You gotta have delayed gratification, because as long as you keep wanting instant gratification, nothing great and nothing of value is gonna come to you in an instant. Anything of value is gonna take time. It's gonna take patience. It's gonna take dedication. It's gonna take skill. It's gonna take hard work, and most of all, work ethic. You know, a lot of people don't have work ethic no more. A lot of people disdain skills. A lot of people disdain just a lot of vocational skills that's in order for them to live and make money. Everybody just think that, you know, we can be a butt model. Everybody think, you know, we can be a model on Instagram and we can be rich like this person on Instagram, and we don't have a skill or a talent the first. You know, we haven't even got to know ourselves. We haven't even got in tune with ourselves to know our strengths, our weaknesses, and to know what we strong at. And it seemed like, man, skills now are becoming a thing of the past. It's just about the visceral, you know, getting on Instagram, looking good, and getting on there talking shit and swallowing spit. And like, it's like having real skills, man, and ingenuity, man. It seemed like that's becoming a thing of the past. Why is that?
Like you said, man, Instagram, people will see the flashy part of it, but they don't see the hard work a person had to put in to get where they at. You know what I'm saying? And that goes back to the microwave mentality and instant gratification.
And you know, one thing about mastering something, you know, I tell people all the time, you know, you want to master something. You know, people just think they can be a ace of all trades. Yeah, you can if you want to, but you're gonna have to master one particular thing. You know what I'm saying? So you can stick with this particular thing, you know, because at the end of the day, like I say, you gotta have work ethic. You gotta have some type of skill you sticking to. You gotta have discipline, and you gotta be consistent. You know, with you coming out the joint, and you know, like I say, with COVID, it had its gifts and it had its curse. A lot of things was born in COVID. You know, a lot of people passed, and a lot of things died. A lot of businesses died in COVID, but a lot of good came out of COVID as well. And, you know, like for guys like us coming out of prison, underachievers, you know, being looked down on, being dismissed when our application is looked at, when we go to a Walmart job or Target job, you know, he's been to prison. And we haven't developed that trust with the community. The community feel like they can't trust us because we've been to prison. You know, you've been to prison for murder. You know, I've been to prison for fleeing and losing. I've had assault with intent to murder cases and murder cases and so on. You know, and you know, we go to these jobs and they put our application way in the back because of our criminal history. So I really, you know, so COVID helped us out a lot with these podcasts. You know, these podcasts have become a platform for underachievers, you know, so that we can display our skill, talent, and display, you know, the things that we have learned and the social issues that we dealing with every day. You know, so, you know, if you don't, you know, when you came out of prison, did you think that you would have this opportunity to be podcasting?
You got to realize when I was in prison, podcasting didn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't
exactly.
It didn't exist as something new. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know. I can say I was discouraged because when I was in there, I programmed. I mean, I did 10 years in the joint, man. I think I had maybe 4 write-ups in 10 years. And so I knew how to follow rules. You know what I'm saying? But I had to make the decision, was it that I know how to follow rules because I was in a structured environment? Because I follow rules when I was outside of there and didn't have a CO looking over my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? But I was very discouraged when I got out, man, and couldn't get a job. You know what I'm saying? But as far as podcasting, that's something that came years later.
So how did you get your niche for that?
For podcasting?
Yeah.
I explained that to you in the beginning when I told you when I first wrote my book. People was having me on their podcast.
Oh, okay.
Podcast, it still wasn't even as popular. It wasn't even as popular as it is now back then.
So when you had your first interview, so who was your first interview with? Let's shout out to them.
I mean, I did so many. I can't.
You don't even remember. But listen,
interviews,
like man. I say, like because like with these podcasts and being on these visuals, you know, you have to have a TV personality. You know, where do you think that TV personality came from for you as to where you could sit down, conduct yourself well in a podcast after doing 10 years in prison, never been interviewed before, and went straight on the interview articulating your book and things went well? Like, how did you gain that confidence and like, where did that, you know, how did you get that personality? Because a lot of people can't do podcasting. You know, a lot of people I try to interview, they be, you know, I don't like doing podcasts or whatever. I ain't good in front of the camera. You know, like, how did that, I mean, like, did somebody work with you or did you just go straight and knock it out?
I mean, the whole time I was in prison, I had professional jobs. Although I was locked up, I had a professional job. I had a lot of jobs, what they would call was clerks. And what the clerk would be like the secretary for maybe like the school principal, the captain's office, maybe in the library or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Just because a person was locked up didn't mean that they didn't have a personality or mean they was dumb or nothing to where they couldn't talk in front of people. And then once again, I was the head of the youth organization who worked with the troubled youth to come in, and part of that was we had to give presentations to the youth. You know what I'm saying? We had to get them like, it was like I told you, something like a Scared Straight program, but I took the Scared Straight perspective of it. So we had to get up in front of them and make presentations and stuff like that. And then in there, when you take certain classes like business administration, and even in some of the programming, you got to get up and make presentations. So after you've been doing that for 10 years, it becomes
right. It just automatically comes to you. Just
it ain't like a person. I just jumped out and wanted to be a podcast or did my first interview. I mean, it may have been like that if I already didn't have no experience in that, as far as doing some of the things I had did being incarcerated. Even in school, I remember I used to have to stand up and give presentations. You know.
So that was just innately part of your character. It was just already in your DNA to do what you're doing right now.
Right.
Okay. So, man, I just want to move on a little further, man, because, you know, they tell me Dayton, Ohio, man, is the home of the G-Funk, man.
It is. Like you being so close in Detroit, you know that.
And a lot of people don't know that, Hank.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When I did my research, man, you know what I'm saying? Dayton, Ohio, man, is the home of the P-Funk, man, you know, because it was promulgated through Snoop and Dre. And so a lot of us thought it was from LA, but all the time it's from Dayton, Ohio. So to you people out there, man, P-Funk started in Dayton, Ohio. You know, man, so how was that, man, growing up under a manager, man, growing up under a dad who was the manager for the Ohio players? Like, what were some of the things that you seen, man, that kind of like resonated with you, man, and kind of like give you some of the skills and some of the talents and creations, man, that you got and use now?
I mean, when dealing with that so young, you really don't realize what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But as I was growing back and looking back and kind of answering your question about how did a person get comfortable with podcasts or talking in front of people and doing interviews and stuff, I knew I was going to be in some type of entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Due to being so connected to that. But growing up back then and being around them type of people and being really a part of history, it really didn't resonate with me. You know what I'm saying? I had a picture of me and my dad with the whole original Jackson 5.
Oh, that's what's up.
So back then, I didn't realize how big of a thing that was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like I said, when I started growing up and getting older, looking back, I remember I always say, like, I'm going to end up in some type of entertainment business because I had been exposed to it, you know what I'm saying, at an early age and growing up. Because not only was my dad the manager of Ohio players, he's the manager of Ohio players. He's the manager of Sun. Sun was another funk band out of Ohio. And then by him being the manager, it put me around a lot of people. Like all the concerts that come, we used to always be able to go to all the concerts backstage.
Mm-hmm.
Have pictures with me, like my dad, like I said, with Run DMC, with Jackson 5. Man, so many people I can't even remember all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I know that was so spectacular for you, man, as a young guy, man, to just be, you know, in the presence of the greats like that, you know. So with your confidence, with that assertiveness that you have, to be able to just take on this stage, man, and for guys, you know, for you to mentor to guys in there, you know, how does that feel, man, just to be in that position?
I guess really like spreading the message, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody gotta stand up, man, and make a charge forward, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And really like how do I feel, because I can't say I don't do it for myself, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's because I'm not looking for the instant gratification. I'm the type of person, I feel like if I help you win, I win.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So and then like when we start these businesses, you know what I'm saying, you don't profit right off the top. You know, a lot of people start businesses and they looking to profit off the top, man. You know, sometimes when you have a gift, sometimes when something is just innately in you, man, you know, this is just something you stick to. Knowing I ain't making no money now, but this is something I'm, you know, in later on down the future, you know, this will render dividends. So I want you to talk to the people, man, and talk to them about, you know, investing yourself into something that's not going to make you dividends right off the dribble. You know, you can't have that instant gratification when you start in that business. You know, you have to have that delayed gratification. You might not start to make a profit 2, 3, 4 years down the line, and you just have to stick to it. So I wanted you to kind of like talk to my viewers about that, man, and you know, just tell, you know, how solid they should be when they stand on that.
I think a person, they shouldn't be doing it for the money. They should be doing it because they like it.
You know and I tell a lot of people, if it's not something, if you're doing it just for money, it's not something you love, because you're gonna have to eventually do this free sometimes. You know, so that's why it should be something, you know, that's a part of your character, part of your DNA, something that you love.
You gotta like what you're doing, and not be doing it for money. If you're doing it for money, then of course you're gonna get discouraged when you ain't getting no money right up off the top. You know what I'm saying? I like to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's gonna stem into other things. Like I said, it ain't instant gratification. Like I said, if I help a guy win, I feel like I win too. All I need is somebody. If I see you got a talent and I can help you get through the door, all I need you to do is get that door open. I'm coming in right behind you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So why you think? I mean, because a lot of these cities, man, it's like crabs in a bucket. When one go up, one pulling the other one down. You know, and like that mentality that you have, you know, because I have the same mentality, man. I'm gonna push a person far as they can go, because long as I push them far, they gonna come back and get me. And even if they don't, I could say, hey, I had a piece of that to do with what they doing, and that's my gratification. But why do you think, man, that it's like that?
That's to say that is the instant gratification thing again, man. Like, I done ran across so many people, and go back to when we talk about the Instagram and stuff like that, man. People see stuff, they'll see the good of it, but they didn't see all the hard work you had to put in to get to where you at, man. And people are always gonna try to hate on you or pull you down when they feel like you're doing better than them. You know what I'm saying? One of my number one rules, man, on my platform and selecting my people I choose to be on there, I refuse to work harder for a person they willing to work for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like when I deal with the artist, I might see an artist got a wave, and I'm like, man, he needs a little push. So I'm gonna go back, do my research, see how often he drops songs, how many videos he got up, what his social media and stuff looking like. I see you only dropping songs every now and then, and you ain't posting links to your music and stuff like that. I refuse. Well, I'm gonna put you on the platform to push you out there. I'm working harder for you than you working for yourself.
Exactly. And like I say, you know, I know you get a lot of calls with people trying to get on your podcast, man. But I tell them, man, you know, sometimes with these podcasts, you don't have to have a lot of substance, but you have to have some. You know, and a lot of these artists, you know, they have to learn how to push their music. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them want to get on these podcasts and they want to push their lifestyle. You know, you have to get on here and you have to push your art. You know, why do you think podcasts is so important?
Again, it's another platform, and then when you got different ones, it's everybody got their own way of doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's another way of, like I said, it's another platform, and aside from being visual, it's also audio. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier for a person maybe to just be riding, just like with YouTube. You know, when you put on a YouTube video, you might be listening to it or watching it and not paying attention, but when that one go off, another one come right on.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's another platform and an opportunity for people to see and find people. And one of the things I think about artists, and not even artists, even brands and people pushing their lifestyle, because that's what the culture is buying into now. They buying into the lifestyles versus talent. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They thinking they can buy their way into the game, but they're not qualified to be in it. Right. You know. So if you wasn't podcasting, man, what you think you would be doing?
Like I say, man, I don't really consider myself a podcaster, and I'm already doing a whole lot of different stuff.
Right.
It's just like one of the tentacles on the octopus.
Right. So I know you graduated in 22 from college. What you major in? What you got your master's?
I got a bachelor's.
Bachelor's, okay. And what you got a bachelor's in?
Digital cinematography.
Man, digital cinematography. So you in your right lane then.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just another tentacle on the octopus. You know what I'm saying? Doing this, I don't really consider it a podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's just aligning with your personality and your degree. You've been doing this forever. And like I be telling people, you know, even while I was in prison, man, I was mentoring to guys, man, standing up, doing presentations as well, man. kind of like sometimes you don't know what the earth has for you. You know, you don't know what the future what the future holds. But long as you taking advantage of information that's in front of you, it prepares you for what the future holds. You know, that's why I tell people all the time, man, take advantage of what's in front of you. Read the information. You might not have a way or reason to apply it today, but you will tomorrow. You know, so don't disdain everything that come your way. Don't disdain all type of information that's right in front of you that you can take advantage of. You know what I'm saying? To build your mental bank account up that much more. You know? So, you know, the theme of my podcast, man, is we better together than separated, man. I want to talk to you and get your thoughts on that.
I mean, that's one of the things I believe in. I believe in coming together, working together, networking, but also at the same time, remember, everybody can't work together, you know what I'm saying? But I think that falls back to the crab in the barrel. Maybe I'm working with a guy, he feel like I'm doing better than him, and that's when the jealousy and envy come in. But 99.9% of the people I have on my podcast that's from Dayton, that's in some type of entertainment, and I ask them, I say, man, what you think it's gonna take for the city, man, to finally get out there and blow up? And everybody say unity. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't just in this industry. It's in every industry. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I do firmly believe, you know what I'm saying, working together in unity. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just considering myself, man, as far as for now, I'm a one-man team.
There you go. You know, and man, just I want you to just get a youth some game out there, man. Straight out your mouth, man. You know, man, just like if you could paint a picture of the youth, man, and what the youth should look like, man, give it to us right now.
What you mean what they should look like?
Like if you had an opportunity, man, to paint a picture, man, of how you want society, black society, to look like. You know, because we got all this killing, all this violence and everything. I want you to get them some game on a resolution for that shit. And I want you to just be able to tap in, man, and get a use some game, man, as far as like the shit that they do, the loose behavior that they doing out here. You know, I mean, just doing any and everything. You know, you being an OG, you being in prison, man, you coming out here, getting your life together. Because we live in the trifecta. You know, all of us hood guys, you know, we go from being bad to good, then we go back to being good again. You know what I'm saying? So right. If you could prevent that one guy from going to be bad, what would you say to him? He's a good guy that might want to turn bad. What would you say to him?
Like we were saying, man, unity, working together. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. I think, man, one of the first things people need to learn is patience, man. Because you got to realize, man, how you living today ain't going to be how you living tomorrow, man. Mm-hmm. One of the things I apply to my life is some of the rules I used in the game. Like I say, man, when you start off in the game, you didn't start off with 100 bricks. You had to start off with a quarter, then a half, then a whole. It's the main thing, man, is patience, man. You know what I'm saying? As long as you doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to get what you're supposed to get to where you're supposed to get, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just that instant gratification, man. And one of the things, just one of the message, man, all in one to answer the question for the youth, proper preparation prevents poor performance, man. You prepare yourself, man, you're going to have a perfect performance, man. We got to get out of that instant gratification, man.
They do. You know, and I mean, I think what it is right now, man, and you know, like I say on my podcast, we be real, because we deal with mental health on this podcast. You know, and the thing about that is, you know, the drugs. You know, people want everything in the instant. Some. I ain't saying all, because everybody don't use drugs. I'm just saying some. You know, the drugs, the computer, the internet, all this. And, you know, sometimes I be scrolling so damn fast, I can't even heart my cousin's birthday or heart somebody that didn't got an award, because I'm scrolling so fast to get to the next little segment or whatever, the next person. So it's like, the internet has programmed our mind to want instant gratification. Here it is. We got so much content on this internet. We looking at this, looking at that, and we want everything immediately because everything is basically at the touch of our tip of our finger. A push button. So with this Wi-Fi era, we've been conditioned, man, to want things in an instance. But I understand what you're saying is that we gotta have some type of filter on that. We gotta have some type of delayed gratification in life.
Most definitely.
And that's the key to success. You know what I'm saying? That's the key to anything is that, you gotta have delayed gratification. You gotta have patience. You gotta be consistent. And at the end of the day, you gotta have work ethic, So I'd like to thank Hanky TV, man, for this interview. Like I say, he one of the OGs down there in Dayton, Ohio, that's doing this thing. I need for you guys, man, to subscribe to his channel. Man, you want to give them your platform? Give them all your platforms, man, so they can subscribe to you?
I'm on Hanky TV at everything. They want to get a copy of the book, they can hit hankintv.com.
You know what I'm saying? And what's your book about?
The name of my book is called Hankin' in Love with the Game.
Hankin' in Love with the Game.
Word Hankin' means.
You've been through a lot, Hankin, man. But before I get out of here, man, I know you was in one of the worstest prisons, and it's one of the sweetest prisons down there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I know prison is nothing to glorify, but it has so much of an impact on us for the guys that's been there, man. Tell us one of the bad moments, man, that happened at the worst prison you was at. One of the worstest moments.
Man, there's so many, there's so much, man. I have to say, man, I guess when a person would take their own life.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You'll be talking to a guy one day on the basketball court, and wake up tomorrow and they come tell you he killed himself.
Man. Wow. Wow. And I know, you got your nonprofit, man.
I'm working on it.
Working on your nonprofit. So before we get out of here, man, because like I say, all of us have to catch up with the likes of our kind at the end of the day, man. No matter what arena of life we in, whether we're a nurse, whether we selling T-shirts, whether we selling phones, whether we podcasting, we want to get with the likes of our kind to be able to just enforce our brand, being able to have some impact on each other's brand and just being able to give each other the game, because it seemed like that has become obsolete too. People working together, people, finding the likes out there, going out there, getting with people that's just like you doing the same thing, and then you create a bigger chain that way. You create a mastermind group that way, and you go further with people that's doing the same thing that you're doing. So right before we get out of here, man, just tap on for a minute, man. Why is it so important, man, to get with the likes of your kind, man, with people who's in the same arena in the field of vocation that you in?
Like I said, man, I'm a one-man team, man. I work alone, man. The right hand watch the left, but they both watch the face. You know what I'm saying? So working together, I really kind of like try to stay doing my thing because I already been through so much, you know what I'm saying, with dealing with different people and stuff like that. But like I say, everybody got their own different style, their own different way of doing things. You know what I'm saying? You might can learn, each one teach one. You know what I'm saying? I might learn something from you, you might learn something from me. But we already know, man, it's better to work together.
Work together. Yeah.
We better together than we are apart.
There you go. So, man, would you like to shout out any of your guests, man, that came on the show? You want to give any shouts out, man, to anybody?
I'll shout out all my guests that did their thing on there, man. I appreciate them for coming through, man, and the ones I got coming up in the future.
There you go, man. And you know what I'm saying? We just want to show you, man, that we with you down there in Ohio, man. You know, like I say, man, we just want to get with the likes of our kind, man. And Hank has been an OG to me, you know, since I've been knowing him. Like I say, shout out to TDF, man, and you know, and building this relationship, you know. So you guys out there, you got to get with the likes of your kind. You know, you will go a lot further. I just want to present this T-shirt today to Hankin TV in Dayton, Ohio, and let him know and that, you know, I got his back. We better together than separated. You know, down here in Michigan, Yacht Life Chronicles, you know, and like I said, you know, it's bigger than just us. You know what I'm saying? This is a Michigan and Ohio thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, we want to make it bigger than just a Yacht Life Chronicles and Hankin TV thing. You know, we have to come together in unity. We have to come together in one as one. We have to come together in solidarity. We need to stop the violence. We need to stop all this. I don't deal with this person. I don't deal with that person. We don't have enough resources to not deal with that person. So I want to present Hankin. You know, I'll be mailing this out to you, my guy. You know what I'm saying, man? And I just want to let you know, man, that I got your back, man, and we better together than separated. You know, I'll be mailing that out to you, man. And I just want to thank you again, man, for, you know, joining the show, man, and giving the people the game, man. Coming with your story, man, and just, you know, letting us into your life, man, and telling us about a lot of things that you're going on. You want to leave? You want to say anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, I just want to tell people what the definition of Hankin is, because everybody like, man, what do Hankin mean? What do Hankin mean?
I mean, yeah, let's get to that.
The definition of Hankin, man, is when you can supply the demand and consistently turn a profit. You know, it's ain't nothing but another word for hustling. You know, I took it and I put a positive spin.
Yeah, but you took a negative and turned it into a positive. You know what I'm saying? You took something that you was doing in the streets and made it into a positive. You know, so that's what we got to do as people, you know what I'm saying, as individuals, especially in the Black community. You know, we have to take negatives and we have to turn it into a positive, you know what I'm saying, to be able to just help and improve the Black community and helping to improve us and to help and improve each other, you know. So at the end of the day, this is another edition of Yacht Life Chronicles where we are better together than separated. Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition. You want to say something else, Hank, before we get out of here? Are you good?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right, man.
We like having me, though.
All right, man. You know, well, like I say, man, thank Hankin. You can catch Hankin TV on all platforms. And thank you guys for tuning in to another edition. This is Yacht Life Chronicles, where we're better together than separated.